Let's talk about transportation. Now, most of the time, if you live in America, your primary 99% of the time method of transportation is your car. In Europe, you're probably mixing it up with some public transportation. So there are some basic habits and expectations that you have for how you get from point A to point B. Well, guess what? That's probably going to change. But let me propose an interesting idea that I never thought about until I got here and I followed myself. Driving is probably the worst part of your day, isn't it? Not only you have to buy a car every 3 to 5 years, pay for insurance and gas or electricity if you have an electric car, like I did in America, and just so many other logistical things you have to worry about. But just on top of that, everyday commute, just not being happy with other drivers maybe not be happy with you, the traffic, just so many things. And on top of that, you can't do much while you're driving. You can probably listen to some music, get a couple of conversations out of the way, maybe listen to an audiobook, but that's pretty much it. So when you move to another country, you might want to consider getting completely rid of those parts of your life that either don't make sense or just not pleasant or not productive at all. So if you move into a big city in another country like Bangkok or Manila and many others, you will have access to an amazing amount of alternative transportations. And even subways and sky trains here are quite a pleasure to use, but because the cost is much lower for pretty much everything, using ride-sharing services like Uber or Grab or Bolt and so forth are much more affordable, which means you're going to be driven by a chauffeur at all times for half of the cost of what you used to pay for your car and transportation in your country of origin, and you will be able to do pretty much whatever you want as someone else is driving you in their car. Consider this, because that will change a big part of your life into a much more positive experience. But listen, if you love driving, you can absolutely do it here as well, but consider that driving here is a bit different. First of all, a lot of these countries have a different side of the road that you drive in, all right? You actually drive on the left side, not the right side of the road. So you're gonna have to get used to that. The steering wheels are also on the right side of the car rather than the left. So something to get used to. And a lot of these countries have a lot of motorbikes everywhere. So it is much harder to maneuver, change lanes, and do many other things because you do not want to hit a motorcyclist, obviously. So consider that before deciding that, no, I want to have a car anyway in my new country as well.